everybody, the Great Dino Ranger here again, back with another video slash review, I guess. So I just want to say, depending on when I upload this, whether this is going to be the last video of 2023 or the first video of 2024, I don't know what it is yet. So if this happens to be the last video of 2023, well then that's that. But if this happens to be the first video of 2024, Happy New Year, everyone. So, in case you guys haven't seen it, you know, in my last video I posted here on YouTube, it showed pretty much my entire Christmas haul that I got for Christmas of this year. And there were so many cool things that I got. And I was planning on actually doing a review on every single one, you know, just to have it on my channel. But I gave it some thought, and I realized, you know, there was a lot of stuff that I would have to review. And since it's the middle of winter, or at least not really in the middle, but since it's winter, you know, it's going to be kind of cold. I won't be able to do stuff like this outside anymore. Today happens to be the warmest day of the week, and I want to get these videos done now so I can post them throughout the week or so. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to group a bunch of these figures that I got for Christmas and actually do like a quick mini review on all of them at once, basically just going over my initial thoughts and feelings about the figures, and just basically just talking about them, you know, how I like them and all that stuff, rather than doing an in-depth review for each of them, because I don't know if I'm going to have time to plan that, and plus I don't really have room on the inside to be doing large reviews, so I'd rather just get it done in like these larger groups instead. So unfortunately, I won't be able to do individual reviews on every single one of these guys, but, you know, you can find much better reviews on each of these figures all over YouTube from many other great YouTubers besides me, because I'm not that great, but, you know, I kind of just rather just give off my initial thoughts on all these figures. So first up, we're going to take a look at basically all of the Hammond Collection figures I got for Christmas, and that includes Dennis Nedry, John Hammond, the Jurassic Park 3 Ankylosaurus, the Jurassic Park 3 Corythosaurus, and the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom Carnotaurus. And I just want to give out my initial thoughts for these figures, and I just want to say I love them all. These ones are definitely really nice figures, definitely a lot better than what you'd probably get in the main line. I guess we can kind of start off like with the humans, you know, for Dennis Nedry here, who's chilling, you know, eating that delicious bowl of ice cream that he took from Hammond, you know, because he's a big guy. I'm sure he likes eating ice cream. But yeah, very nice figure. You know, it's a lot better than my Legacy Collection Dennis Nedry. A lot more paint is added, you know, so it's a much higher quality Dennis Nedry figure. I will say though, the one thing I really wanted this figure for was for this Barbasol can, and I really loved how I have this in my collection now, because the only time you could get this was with that you know, San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, which, you know, you can never really get those, because, you know, it's not like we have money to go to Comic-Con all the time, you know. So it's nice to finally have one that came with a figure that you can buy in store. You know, the Barbasol can is really cool, really tiny, so if any of you guys have it, please don't lose it. But I think the coolest thing of this Barbasol can is that you can actually take off the underside of it to reveal all the stolen DNA samples or embryos, whatever, that Dennis Nedry took from Jurassic Park, and you could just plug that in there. So really cool how we have this. So I definitely say this is the much more better, superior Dennis Nedry. And not only that too, you know, the name tag is really well detailed. You can kind of see there. So they actually used the picture of the actual actor who portrayed Dennis Nedry in the film, so that's really cool. And then the ice cream bucket and ice cream scooper is such a cool addition with the John Hammond, which is a really nice figure too. It looks very similar to the Legacy Collection one, but obviously it's a bit more detailed, a lot of articulation, so you can get a lot of cool poses with this. And then obviously you got the cool looking cane right there. So overall, just a nice, you know, human addition to the collection, but also it's nice to have them here because you can kind of get the good feel of how big these animals were, probably in real life, but more like the Jurassic Park versions. Next we'll move on to the Corythosaurus, a really gorgeous figure. I actually probably like it a bit more than the Parasaurolophus for the Hammond Collection. even though it's vice versa when you look at the movies. I adore the Lost World Parasaurolophus design. I don't know why. It just looks so good. More than the Corythosaurus, probably because the Corythosaurus barely had any screen time in Jurassic Park 3. So I would really like to see this animal return in the franchise sometime down the line. But in terms of figures, I probably like this one a bit better. It's a lot more detailed, in my opinion. The colors are great. You know, the colors aren't what makes it, you know, I like it better. It's just the overall detail in the sculpt and the look of this figure. And you know what, the more I look at the colors, the more I actually enjoy them. You know, it kind of fits for a Corythosaurus. I don't know why Corythosaurus always has like these orangish yellow color tones to it. I don't know why. It always seems like that. But you can kind of see all over the body here, you know, great amount of detail, you know, especially in just the line work all over the entire body. And you got some nice scoots on the arms and the hands and feet, excuse me. But just some really nice, like, sharp, crisp detail, and I really like it. And the head is a selling point for me. You know, it's a really nice looking head, the classic Corythosaurus head with the beautiful looking crest. And this is the closest you'll ever get to see the Corythosaurus up close, because in Jurassic Park 3, it was always in the background. It was just running. You never got a really good close of it. And even the renders you can find, you don't really have a good, you know, good detailed render of the animal. So this is like your best guess of what you can kind of see what it looks like. I'm not sure how 100% accurate it is, but to me it looks really accurate. I think I really want to get more of these guys, so I can have a huge herd of Corythosaurus and possibly Parasaurolophus, because I really adore this figure a lot. And I think the jaw articulation is slightly better than the Parasaurolophus. It's not like a stubby joint in the front. It's like they actually use the entire jaw, which I think is something that Mattel should be doing, instead of just moving the actual front part of the mouth, but the whole lower jaw should move at a hinge, kind of like the beasts of the Mesozoic ceratopsians. But yeah, you know, very nicely detailed, and the head isn't as ridiculously round as the Parasaurolophus, but overall is pretty good. We'll do some slight comparisons later on. The Ankylosaurus here, definitely the best Ankylosaurus from Mattel. One thing for sure when I opened this or saw it in person is that this thing is huge. It's actually, I mean, not like overly huge, but it is definitely much bigger than Mattel's past Ankylosaurus offerings. And I really do like this figure a lot. Great detail, you know, great, you know, just hefty figure. You know, it makes for a nice Ankylosaurus toy or a figure just to pose. So I can't wait to pose these, especially in the summertime. So, but yeah, the detail is really great, especially on the top of the head here. This guy is just like an armored tank, and Mattel really captured that with the detail and the paint job. Looks really nice. Obviously, the main selling point for me for this figure is the articulation. I mean, sure, you got an articulated jaw, which is pretty nice, but it's just the amount of head articulation. Look at that. You can make it move down all the way, so you can make it drink. You can make it look up pretty good. You can even make it look side to side. That is a really nice movement for the head right there. Nice posability. And the legs are you know, standard for a four-legged animal. And you know, you don't really need to get Ankylosaurus into dramatic poses anyway, so that's fine. And then the tail is one of the coolest parts of this entire figure. It has all these individual hinges, so you can make the tail move all sorts of different directions. Up and down, you know, get some nice fluent motions. You can even move it side to side. So really nice range of motion in the tail. So I really do like that a lot. Surprisingly, the only gripe I really have with this figure is that it's not really the Jurassic Park 3 Ankylosaurus. It says so on the package, it says so in the description and all that, but clearly this is the Jurassic World variant design of the Ankylosaurus. Mattel just slapped on the Jurassic Park 3 colors, which is basically they're just pulling a Jurassic World Evolution move, because in Jurassic World Evolution they just gave the Jurassic World Ankylosaurus the JP3 colors. So that's probably the only gripe, because it's not really a Jurassic Park 3 Ankylosaurus, it's just a Jurassic World Ankylosaurus, just with JP3 colors. So it would have been nice if it was actually accurate to the Jurassic Park 3 Ankylosaurus, but in my opinion, I do like the world version a lot better, and it works so good with this amount of articulation. So that's the only gripe I have, but it's not like a huge big deal. The colors are really nice anyway. I like the red. It contrasts a lot with the other colors. And now, probably my favorite out of the Hammond Collection so far, out of my entire Hammond collection, and that is the Carnotaurus. This thing is awesome. This thing is just, it's gorgeous, it's beautiful. It is the best Carnotaurus from Mattel, period. the amount of detail and paintwork on this Carnotaurus, it looks so good. It literally, this figure is leaping off the screen from Fallen Kingdom. It looks that identical to it. And this is probably the most identical or movie accurate Carnotaurus we've ever gotten. You know, the past Carnotauruses weren't nowhere close to being fully accurate. The little juvenile one for the Dominion line was getting there, but it wasn't quite there yet. This one, by far, the most accurate movie representation of the Carnotaurus from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And it's awesome. It looks so good. Like, look at that detail on that head. That is like right from the moment of the movie where its head peeked through the gyrosphere to stare at Claire and Franklin. Like, that looks really good. And the amount of sculpt work too. It's basically an actual model that they could have used for the movies. And I think in the Beyond the Gates episode, they said they had Mattel had access to a lot of the CGI or ILM renders of this animal, so they could probably make it as accurate as they could. But yeah, really nice figure overall. Just a really gorgeous one. Probably one of my favorites, if not the favorite, of the Hammond Collection so far. And I really do like the glass eye. It's a lot better on some of the other figures, like the T-Rex. The T-Rex's eye looks like a raptor eye, and I don't really like that. This one, they gave it an actual rounded pupil, which looks really good. It does bring this figure to life a little bit because of the glowing eyes. And I do apologize for the trash truck in the background, so hopefully you guys can still hear me. But yeah, the eyes look really good on this one. And so are the colors. The colors match the Carnotaurus from Fallen Kingdom really nicely. Because I just love the red. It works so good for a Carnotaurus. I don't know why, it just does. And I really do love the separate molded teeth, like some of the other figures. Makes them look a lot sharper and better than just painted, and then they won't get scuffed. But yeah, and I like the hinge jaw on this one too. It's a lot better than the T-Rex. The T-Rex only had like 3 poses. You can have the wide pose, then a medium pose, and the closed pose. That's it. And it was just all ratchety and jointed. This one you can move smoothly. I mean, they can't open individually. You have to open them together, but it's a lot smoother, so you can just open it however wide you want. So it's gonna work really good for, like, you know, stop motion and all that. But for posability, for picture taking, it's gonna work really nice too. So I am greatly happy with this Carnotaurus. Definitely one of the coolest things from Mattel. And the fact that Mattel is focusing on Jurassic World for the Hammond Collection next year, or for the year of 2024, get me really hyped. Hoping maybe for a Giganotosaurus or a Therizinosaurus. I think that'll be really cool. For brief size comparisons, here we have the Corythosaurus compared with the Parasaurolophus, and they look really nice together. It would be cool if hopefully you can get like a green Parasaurolophus one day so that it can be like the ones from Jurassic Park 3, but these two look really nice together. Definitely I like the Corythosaurus a lot better than the Parasaurolophus in my opinion. I like this one too, I mean, but you know, just the Corythosaurus is such a huge improvement, you know, especially in the body and the sculpt work and all that. So really nice. Mattel is definitely improving, or evolving, I should say. So I really do like that. Next up, for the Ankylosaurus, you can definitely see how the Hammond Collection one is definitely much larger than the previous offerings that Mattel has been giving us since 2018. And the size is a huge improvement. I know Ankylosaurus wasn't really super huge in real life, but for the Jurassic Park variants, they were pretty big, you know, so it's nice to get a slightly larger version of the Ankylosaurus. So this one's definitely much bigger and much longer than these ones. And actually, I'm just looking at it and, like, I don't know how, I didn't realize how small these guys were until I got the Hammond Collection one. Like, this thing just looks so super tiny now. But really cool to see the difference between both of these. Next up, for the Carnotaurus, here we got the main 3 Carnotauruses that we've been getting throughout the years, or at least that we have gotten throughout the years, minus the little one. I'm just going to include the adults here. So we got the very first Carnotaurus from Mattel here, the one from 2018, which is still a great figure. You know, even though it's not necessarily movie accurate anymore, it's still a great figure. You know, it was my first Carnotaurus, my first Jurassic Park Carnotaurus toy, so that was actually really special to me. And I will treasure that figure forever because I've always wanted a Jurassic Park Carnotaurus toy. And then the big one here in the middle is the Control and Conquer from the Primal Attack line. That one was a slightly improvement from the older one, because I like the whole puppeteering gimmick that it has with the primal attack gimmick. And then we got the new one here, which I know it looks small, but it kind of depends on what pose you have it in. But it's basically roughly the same size as the Control and Conquer, so it is a larger figure than your medium-sized ones, and it's smaller than the T-Rex. But yeah, definitely the newest one is much more superior. And just look at the head sculpts, man. I mean, the head sculpts here were based off of the maquette model that they used for the film, probably for lighting purposes. This is actually based on the actual CGI model used in the movies, and this one's definitely much better. But yeah, they look so good together, but this one's just ultimately the best one. The arms do seem a little big on this one, but it's not terrible. It still looks like a Carnotaurus no matter what. But yeah, that's basically it for this little, hopefully quick little review. I just figured I'd do this because then it'd be faster to get through all these figures instead of having to wait for the perfect time to do them. Because trust me, I don't want to be reviewing a Christmas item all the way into like March. So, but yeah, that's basically it for this first video right here of the Hammond Collection figures I got for Christmas. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again for the next video.